Perfect.
Oh, wow. So welcome to the real story behind her business. Well, it's a new show. I'm very excited because our first guest is, I don't know, she's going to tell you how she feels, like something amazing is happening to her. And she's right fresh from all that bubbles that are going around her. And I'm going to introduce you to ba-ba-bam, Karen Dean.
Hey.
Hello. Now we're live everywhere. We're live on Facebook, on Instagram, and we each have like double, double earphones. I love it.
We're fancy today.
So, Karen, I told you just before, we were in the green room or whatever we call it, that this show came to the point for you because you're like going through an amazing victory in your business, and I just want to give a little bit of background about why we do it today. It's because, as a social media marketing coach myself, social media love, I work with a lot of female entrepreneurs. And the number one issue for most of us is to be able to share our stories so that we can kind of let people know how our business came out and why it's so important, why our business is like a baby for us, because we know we can transform the world and the people we help every day because we have that story that made us who we are, right? So you are my first guest, and you're an amazing storyteller. And
Thank you.
let's start with the major story that is happening right now in your life, Karen. What's going on?
Well, the most recent big story that's happening in my life is I just released my very first book, which has been a dream of mine for about 25 years to write a book. I can't take all the credit for the writing for this one. It is a collection of stories from women across Nova Scotia about this year, this incredible year that we have had. It is called We Are Unbreakable, Raw, Real Stories of Resilience. And I gathered stories from 21 other women and plus wrote one for myself. Hi, Casey. And it's just about in Nova Scotia, for your viewers who don't know, on top of COVID, we've also had a lot of tragedy here in the province this year that's just been unreal to deal with. We had the worst mass shooting in Canadian history happen, what I say, next door to me, like in tiny little communities where I go often. And those things don't happen in Nova Scotia. We are a quiet, friendly little province where, we don't lock our doors. We invite strangers in and feed them meals. And for that to happen, it really affected, I think, everybody who lives here and people who don't live here anymore, but grew up here or have ever lived here. It just affected everyone so much. And shortly after that, we had helicopter crash, a military helicopter crash off of Greece, which had some Nova Scotia members of the military in it. And then we had the snowbird crash in British Columbia, which also had a Nova Scotian in it. And we had a little boy go missing in Truro that's never been found. He's only 3 years old. We just had one thing after another. And then in my own life, in July, my only son was diagnosed with cancer. And I just thought, wow, like the world needs to hear our stories. The world needs to hear from the women of Nova Scotia. And on mid-October, I got the idea and it was published 4 days ago. And on the very first day, within the first 36 hours, it went up to number 52 out of the 8 million books that Amazon sells in Canada. So it was unreal, really. It's sitting at, I think, number 200 and something right now because Amazon updates the rankings every hour. So it depends on how many people are searching and buying that book, what your ranking is. But it's incredible.
Yeah, tell us about who you're behind or in front of, or who you want to be on Amazon, so that our people can help you, because they're big names. You're close to being names.
Well, when I was at number 52, I was at number 18 on the, I think it was Movers and Shakers list, and Barack Obama was number 22. So I was ahead of him. And I was number one on one of the lists at one point. I think that might have been the Movers and Shakers list. It was hot new releases that I was ahead of Barack Obama in, but I was number one on movers and shakers within the first 36 hours. And since it's been released, I've been sitting at number 2 for Canadian collections, because there's many categories that they rank your book in as well. So I've been at number 2 for Canadian collections. And the number 1 is Peter Mansbridge, who was the nighttime news anchor for my whole life. And my goal is to get to number 1 ahead of him, just so I can screenshot that, because it might only last for an hour, but that's my goal.
So, okay, I love it. So we are unbreakable, and maybe we could help you, like help Karen to achieve another dream of hers by getting to number 1. Oh my God. I'm so like, I know. And like, we've been talking about it, that like when you said it again, I had more shivers. Like, it's just amazing. And the short notice where you started that, like you said, what, a few weeks ago? How many weeks?
October 14th was when I came up with the idea, and it was published on November 24th.
Wow. And then bam. Yeah. And it's hitting the US market right now, you said.
Right? It hit the US market just within the last 24 hours. And when I checked last, I was at number 95 in Canadian literature on the American rankings.
Wow. Yeah. I got my copy. I can't wait to have it.
Awesome. Yes. Thank you.
Okay. The book is written. It's performing like crazy right now. But what is, you say that you are a resilience expert, author, and speaker. And, We Are Unbreakable is the title of your book. So tell us more about who is your ideal audience. Like, who are you working with? Who are you there for?
The ideal audience for this book in particular is anybody. I say that even if you're a man, or no matter how old you are, where you live, what you do, you will relate to one of the stories or many of the stories in this book. But for what I do as a resilience expert and speaker, I mostly help women to live their best life, because I know that we all hold ourselves back, and we have excuses, and we have all these reasons in our head why we can't have everything we want, and we can't have the career we want, we can't have the life we want, we can't have the money in the bank we want. We hold ourselves back, and I held myself back for a very long time, and I listened to the wrong people for a very long time. And I think it's really important that we empower ourselves to listen to our own voice in our head, to only have people in our lives who actually empower us to be better and do better. And I've made some really hard decisions in my own life to end relationships that I thought would be forever, because those people brought me down. And I can say that my life, I would never would have done this project if I still had those people in my life, because they would have said, no, you can't do that. Or who do you think you are? And I just would have went, oh yeah, I shouldn't do that. Because you listen to their voices and you let them make your decisions for you. And it's really tough to get past that. And my goal is to help women to do that, and to be able to live their best life on their own terms, everything they've ever dreamed of. And I'm living proof that it can happen. So who better to teach you?
I know, and it's so important when you say to be surrounded by the right people, and that's why you and we met, because we are a mastermind together, and we are like surrounded with amazing people that support each other all the time. So I want us to, talking about stories and sharing stories. Before you decided I'm going to be a resilience expert and speaker and author, bring us back to that moment. We all have that moment where maybe you were in a car, at the kitchen table, or in a grocery store, and that voice is clear. This is it. I'm going to be an author, or I'm going to be the resilience expert. Do you remember that moment?
It wasn't one particular moment. It was kind of a progression of moments. But it was in removing those toxic relationships from my life that I just literally sat here in my house one day and went, I can do those things. Like, I can't let those voices in my head stop me anymore. And those voices weren't in my face anymore. They were just in my head. And I quit my job. I had a job that I just started working with special needs kids at our school because I'm a single mom, and it made sense to do a job like that where I was only working while my kids were in school, because my goal was always to be a mom who was with her kids as much as possible. So I left my job and said, I won't be back next school year. And I just went full force into living my dreams and making it come true. And it's happening. It blows my mind every day that it's actually happening, but it's happening because I put the right steps in place for myself to make it happen. I connected with the right people, which is, like you said, how we met. And I always say, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. And so I looked for the people who could help me. I asked for the help from those people, and it's happening. It's amazing. My life has never been better, even with all the struggles. Like I said, my son has cancer. We're still going through that cancer battle, but every day I say, my gosh, my life is amazing. It truly is. And we have lots of trips to the hospital, but he's doing great. And because we have that inner strength that we've developed through the years, we're getting through it, no problem. And I think that's what we need to do as women, as humans, is not dwell on all the negative things that have happened to us as a negative, because every single one of them is a learning opportunity. Every single one of them is a chance to become a better you, to change who you spend time with, to change how you live your own life. And that's what I've done, is found the lesson in every horrible thing that's happened to me. And that's another book, which will have a lot of things in it. And, you just have to take the good from all of those bad situations and then keep living in that good instead of focusing on the bad. And as hard as that is to do, it works.
So going back, let's pause on, you said that you kind of hit the wall, and then you said, that's it. I'm quitting the job. I'm doing what I want. Like, can you bring us there? Like, what are the steps? Like, how do you do it? Because you have your voices plus external voices. How do you do that?
It goes back for me to about 7 years ago. I hired a life coach who did this program called Inner Boot Camp. And that was the start for me in making this happen. And she, at one of our sessions, I was telling her all the horrible things that had happened, what people had done to me is how I was wording it. And she said, but how did you have any play in that happening in your life? Like, did you have any part of it? And I was like, no, like I got really defensive. And then when I went home and thought about it, I really did have a lot to do with it, because she brought it to my attention the next time we met. I did not love myself. I did not love myself at all. And she gave me a postcard that I still have. And she said, I want you to take this home and put it in your bathroom and read it to yourself every single day out loud. And it said, I deeply and completely love myself. And I could not do that. I could not say those words out loud for 2 years. But once I started being able to say those words to myself and believe it, is when everything started happening. All the good things started happening. I started building that inner strength to be able to make my own dreams come true. And I started building the strength in myself to say, I don't need those people in my life who are bringing me down. I only need the people who are going to build me up. And it's really hard to end those toxic relationships. Like, some of those people are my parents and my brothers who are not in my life anymore. But my life is better. And I am using those lessons to help other women get through and live their best life. And that's why I did it. That's my story, is because I just sat down and said, you know what? All this crap happened for a reason. What's the reason? The reason is so I can help others, so that they don't have to repeat my mistakes. And that's how I started.
Wow, that's powerful. But again, it goes back to get help, get surrounded.
Oh,
Like that
always.
postcard is amazing. And
Yeah. And
we all need that postcard, I think, especially when you're in business, because, that's kind of what I've learned the most with our gurus, Eleanor, is that it's cultivating that belief of your success, of the people you help, of what you offer the world. I just love it because it so resonates with so many of us as entrepreneurs, right?
yes. And it's a mindset thing because so many people look at that mindset as being arrogance, but it's not arrogance. It's necessary. If you want to do your best in business, you have to believe in yourself and you have to make other people believe in you and your abilities. So the people who find it as arrogance just aren't there yet. But the people who believe that they can, help others and build their business and be successful and, have huge bank accounts, whatever success looks like to you, those are the people who make it happen because they believe in themselves and they can make other people believe in their ability to do it. And it's really, and you're making it happen now with this show, is people need to hear your stories. People need to know, like, and trust you. And that's how you get there, is telling the stories.
I know. And it's always a struggle of some kind that we all go through, depending if it's personal or, financial or health related, relationship, material stuff. We all go through struggles. And the beauty is to, like you see, like each struggle you had brought you where you are today. And I love it. I love it. So what do you think is the biggest misbelief that you had before you had that epiphany with the postcard and moving on, everything like a domino effect? What was the biggest misbelief you had, do you think, at the time, that now it's clear that wasn't true and that you think that most people have actually, and that what blocks them?
The belief, and I have seen this at an event before, that most people have this, especially women, is that we are not enough. And that was those 3 words. I said, or it's 4 words, I guess, I am not enough. I said to myself that all the time. And so many of us believe that about ourselves, that we're not enough, that we are not good enough to have that success, that whatever it might be, we're not pretty enough, we're not skinny enough, we're not smart enough. We all label ourselves, I am not enough something. And we have to stop that. We really do, because we are enough. Every one of us is enough. And there is so much abundance that every single one of us can have everything we want. Like, abundance isn't limited. It's out there for everyone to have. You just have to believe in yourself and believe that you deserve it.
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. So Karen, so I am here. So you have that haha moment, the postcard, and then the decision you make. But so what are concretely the steps? And maybe for even some women here that are stuck in a situation right now, they have an idea, a dream, and they think that only others can do their dreams, not them, like you said. So what was the concrete steps of maybe the very first thing, so you joined that coach, but then in terms of the business building, like, or the first offer you had, like, what was the first step? Like, just bring us there with you.
I think the most important step I took was to ask for help and to hire someone to help me. Coaching is expensive, and I've invested a lot of money in it this year, but that is what got me where I am, is to surround yourself with people who have already reached the success that you want to reach, and spend time learning everything you can from them, absorbing everything you can from them. That is the biggest step for anybody in success. Even the most successful business people have coaches. That's a given. So that is the most important thing I did to boost my business this year, was to hire a coach. But it's putting the steps in, it's doing the research, it's believing you can. That is the biggest thing. It's believing you can. It's believing that if you invest $20,000 in a coach, you're going to make 40,000 or 50,000 or 200,000, because a good coach will get you there. A good coach will get you to everywhere you want to go. And the thing for me was understanding I can't do everything myself, because a lot of us do believe that when we don't
Mm.
have the finances, we think we can't afford this, but you really can't afford not to. This year, I invested in a virtual assistant to do a lot of my work for me, and it just freed me up to do all of the things that were more important in the business building, besides sending an email or things like that, that are easy to delegate to somebody else, while you can do the more important steps in building your business. So it's about building relationships and finding the right people to help you. That is the biggest steps to success.
And you're the queen of relationship. Oh my God.
I try.
No, you are. So tell me, like, in terms of resilience, what are the little things that yourself, maybe you implement for yourself, or you would tell to any other female entrepreneur right now that you can put in place in your daily routine, so that, the days you're like, what am I doing? Why did I study that crazy thing now? Like, what are the things you would share with us?
I still look at that postcard every morning and say those words and believe them. That's the biggest step. But it's about looking at your relationships in your life, even your personal ones, because you think your personal ones don't affect your business, but they do, because they affect the voices in your head. So you need to evaluate the people you have relationships with and make sure you're spending time with people who can support you through this, who can build you up through this, who aren't bringing you down and making you feel bad about yourself in any way, shape, or form. And there's so much negativity in the world today. You sometimes feel like you can't find that, but there are people out there, and you are one of those examples for me. And in the mastermind that we are in, it's just so powerful to have so many like-minded women together supporting each other. And so you need to find those people. And I just cut the people out of my life who did not fit that category. And yeah, I mean, you have to. It's hard, but you have to. You really have to make it happen. And it's reading is something you need to do. You need to find the books that are going to inspire you, that are going to help you get through it. That's important to me. Self-care is not selfish, is another very important thing to me. I make sure I take the time to build myself up every day. It can be 5 minutes, but do something for you.
Like what, Karen? Give us examples. Like, I'm sure people, like, what would you say?
For some people, just reading a book is a big deal. So go read the book. Tell the kids, I'm reading a book. Like I said, I'm a single mom with 2 kids at home. I have like hour-and-a-half long baths, candlelit bubble bath, just me in the tub and a candle. Right. And I say, kids, if you knock on that door, you better be dying, because like, do not interrupt me. I mean, you obviously can't do that with little tiny kids, but my kids are old enough to look after themselves. So it's little things like that. Maybe it's going for a drive and cranking the music up really loud.
Oh,
maybe it's maybe it's eating that chocolate that you've been keeping from yourself. It can be so many little things, but find something every day that brings you joy, that makes you feel whole, and do it. And do it for you, because as women, we look after everybody else first. And you have to take, like I said, even if it's only 5 minutes, to do something for you, to say, this is for me. This is my time. Do not disturb. And for those of you who have husbands or significant others, tell them it is important that I have this time, and it is me time. And make sure they understand that, because it's so important to have that mutual respect, that they can take the load off of you when you need them to. And we all need the load taken off every day, at least once, just to catch your breath. Yeah. And breathing is actually another thing that we don't consciously think about.
Yeah.
And I love that you do that. Whenever someone tells me to breathe, I breathe instantly. But when you're going through something that you feel really overwhelmed and stressed about, stop and take 5 really deep breaths and only think about breathing. Don't think about anything else, only think about breathing. And when you're done those 5 deep breaths, things will look a way clearer. Or maybe that kid won't be quite as irritating, or maybe that whatever the person that you're working with that is frustrating you, won't be as big of an issue. It's about making sure you take that breath and refocus your thoughts.
Yeah.
So those are some really important things that I do often to
Wow.
try to get myself through the days, because I've had some pretty tough days in the last year.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So if you watch the replay or listen or are with us right now, you probably understand where Karen Dean, the resilience expert, author, and speaker is coming from. And, your story, like, I love how you share, back when, and then the big outcome for you. So you're just at the beginning of all the things happening. Like, it's intense. How do you keep up with the emotions?
That's another important thing that I have to do, is feel the feelings. And that's important for your resilience too, is to feel the feelings, because so many of us hold those feelings in and don't want to cry, don't want to, whatever that emotion is that you're trying to hold in. You want to believe everything's okay. You want to block out the bad. Feel the feelings, deal with them. That's the most important thing that I have done. I was scared to death when they told me my son had cancer. It was a phone call because I wasn't allowed to go to the hospital with him because of COVID. So I cried. I did. I cried. I was scared. I admitted I was scared, even to my kids. They need to know what real life is all about. And, I try to be a super mom, but they need to see the real mom too.
Yeah.
And it's about being real with yourself and with the other people in your life about your feelings and feeling them. When I hit submit to that book, and it popped up on Amazon that your book is now live, I cried my eyes out. It was just such a roller coaster of emotions. I was exhausted because putting a book together in 41 days is a lot.
It's crazy.
And I was excited and I was scared, because you think, what if people hate it? Like, there's just, everything goes through your head, but it's important to acknowledge them, take your breaths, and move on.
Yeah.
And you can't move past the feelings if you don't admit you have the feelings. That's how I've looked at it. And there was a time when I would never admit I was scared of anything. But now I admit, yep, I'm scared. But you know what? In the case with my son, yep, I'm scared, but we're going to get through it. And we are. And he's doing amazing. And I think it's so important to show your vulnerability, because without vulnerability, there's no courage. There's no bravery. There's no getting through it unless you are vulnerable and real. And that's how you get all the good things, is by dealing with the bad things.
Oh my God, Karen, that was like, wow. You're so amazing. People on Instagram are sending hearts, they love.
I saw that was my sweet little Katie girl, who is also a little teenage rock star. So I want to acknowledge her, because I know she's had some rough times lately, and she's going to get through it too. So
wow.
Thank you for the hearts, Miss Casey. My favorite little brat is what we call her.
So if people want to reach you, Karen, whether they want maybe to learn more about your book, learn more about your speaking offers and stuff, how do we do?
You can find me on my website, which is KarenDeanSpeaks.com.
I'm going to put it there.
All right.
Create a banner. I'm going to create a. So Karen Speaks.
Yes.
No,
Karen Dean
Speaks.
.com,
guys. I'm going to put that in the banner. It's going to scroll at the bottom. Does it scroll? No, it's not the right banner.
We're still on We Are Unbreakable.
It's not the right one. What did I do?
Anyway, so you can find me. There it is, KarenDeanSpeaks.com. And on social media, on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, which I don't use Twitter very often, but I do use Instagram and Facebook quite a bit. It is at Karen Dean Speaks. If you just search that on any of those social media platforms, you will find me. And I do share a lot of my stories on Instagram and Facebook, so you can really get to
I love your
more
posts.
about me.
If you need a little boost every day, go to Karen's Instagram. Yeah.
And on Amazon, search "We Are Unbreakable" to find it on Amazon. Because if you search my name, you get some really raunchy books that some other Karen Dean wrote.
That's true. I read that and I'm like, whoa, what's that?
That was not me. That is not my life at all. As a single mom here.
Oh my God, Karen, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So I love it. So the real story behind her business is this. So watch the replay, just catching up right now, or I'm going to try to keep it on IGTV here. And if not, go to Facebook or YouTube. And thank you so much. And if you want to be a guest, I know like usually people have a hard time to say, yes, I want to share my story. But if you are like, maybe you're ready. So tell me, if not, I go and catch you somewhere. And I'm going to ask more ladies to come here and share their stories of the why behind their business, that fever, that passion, that transformation, those struggles. Thank you so much, Karen. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. And I encourage any woman who feels like they shouldn't put their name in for this show, do it.
Yes.
Like, cut the fear and do it. Because let me tell you, hitting submit on a book on Amazon is the most scary thing I think I've ever done in my life. And it's amazing. So cut through the fear and do it. And you will not regret it.
Yes. Yeah. Just do it. I love it. If not, if you're not sure, just reach out to Karen. She's going to keep going.
I will. I am a professional butt kicker.
Okay. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you for being here. And tell me if you watch a replay, put a replay in the comments.